Hey folks, welcome back. Krishna here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. In this video, we're going to take a look at some powerful techniques that you can use with the shape tool. So the shape tool exists in the toolbar, and you can see that there is the rectangle tool, the ellipse tool, triangle, and poly. Let's start out with the triangle tool. With the triangle tool selected, make sure that you set the fill to none, and make sure that you set the stroke to something that is visible. I'm using 20 pixels here, and make a new layer. And we'll just drag this guy out. So you can hold down the shift key to constrain the proportions. If you let go of the shift key, you can get all sorts of really interesting variations of that triangle. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to apply the transform tool by hitting Command T, and then we're going to choose warp. Now the warp tool gives us a grid, and if we wish, we can go ahead and distort it directly on the grid, which can be interesting, especially when you're working through shape explorations for character design. But I'm going to go up to the warp menu here and just choose something like, oh, I don't know, inflate. You can see now that we have something that looks triangular, but it's a little bit more organic looking. It has some curves to it. Let's try squeeze. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So I can hit enter. Now I can duplicate that layer by hitting Command J, Command T. I can bring this in, move it down, maybe drop the thickness. So if you already have a stroke on an object, if you select the appropriate layer and go back to the shape tool, keyboard shortcut U, you can bring this down to say something like 10 pixels. This is a decent way to potentially cheat some line weight. You want to make the lines that are closer to the viewer thicker, the lines that are further away thinner. So now what I can do is I can simply connect these elements like so. And in order to get this to be accurate, start from the base right there. And now I've got this little room, so I can potentially throw a window. I can, throw some kind of a opening. And basically I have now a little environment. I could even add some metal rivets. I can start putting other elements within this composition. And now I've got a three-dimensional structure. So that's a pretty effective way of creating a simplified environment utilizing shapes that are not just your standard primitives. Let's try another shape here. Let's use the polygon tool. With the polygon tool, you can change the sides that the polygon has up here in the options menu. So I can choose 6. Let's just choose 8. Hit enter. This kind of looks like a stop sign. I do want to make that a little bit thicker, so I'm going to go for 15 pixels here. Not 100. 15. It's somewhat thick. And in this case, what I'll do is I'll just not hold the shift key down. I'll just, well, maybe I will hold the shift key down. I want to actually kind of elongate it like this. I'll hit Command J to make a copy of that. Move it in. And move it to one side. And again, what I'll do is with the shape tool, I'll just drop that size down to say 10 to give us that illusion of thin to thick. And now I can simply connect these points. So this is one way, like if you're trying to create some kind of a science fiction environment or just some kind of an interior space, you can use this technique to create something that looks like it has some dimension. Now you'll still need to add some more things. So what I would maybe suggest is maybe you have some canisters here. Maybe there's some elements that are in the foreground. Trying to think what that could be. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll maybe throw some windows. And if you're trying to actually, place something on like a window or a surface, you can subdivide these areas with grids, finding the midpoint, again, I'm freehanding this. And then from there, you can always make a new layer and you can draw some kind of a porthole. some kind of ventilation duct, whatever you want. And then when you're satisfied, you can always get rid of that and add some other elements here. We can maybe throw some lighting. This and add a black fill. And now all of a sudden we have a pretty cool science fiction environment. You can also use this for characters too. You can see that I used this robot with the triangular tool. So this kind of gives us a floating robot head. There's so many ways that you can take this. And a lot of people really haven't looked at this particular aspect. The shape tools are incredibly powerful, just like we've talked about in previous videos with the glyphs. Um, when you use the shape tool without any fills, you can create some really interesting environmental locations. You can also create some really interesting characters with it too. So I hope you found this video to be helpful. Before I leave, I just want to say that I have ordered a M4 Mac Mini, and I will be doing a review on this channel. It's a first hardware review, but I'm going to be looking at it from a standpoint of, does the Mac Mini make sense for a person who's an Illustrator digital artist? And that should be happening in the next few weeks. So look forward to that. And if you have any questions or comments, or you need any help with drawing, let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.